Okay, so today's presentation is going to be about critical friends group and how to implement them in as a professional development tactic, and some benefits, downfalls, threats, and opportunities to consider when implementing these critical friends groups. So this was created by me, Jessica Schragi, for my CI 6143 Module 8 class. So let's start with first, what is a CFG? What is a critical friend group? Basically, it is 8 to 12 educators that are going to meet on a regular basis. And the purpose of these meetings are going to be to discuss student learning, areas for growth within the school, and strategies to meet various organizational goals. The foundation of CFGs are learning from authentic work in the community. So CFGs, the intent of them are to learn from each other. The basis and the foundation for CFG is with the understanding that as teachers, we have the opportunity to learn from others, and we also have things that we could teach others. So we need to be prepared to trump on those qualities and to help others by teaching them what we know how to do well, and listen and take feedback from others to improve areas that we don't know how to do well. And that's what the whole intent is of the critical friend group. It is different from other professional learning communities in two different ways. First, it's different because you are going to utilize various protocols to look at adult work dilemmas, student work, and texts. So you're going to make sure that you use a very structured set of protocols, and normally a trained official is going to facilitate these CFG meetings. And the reason why these strict protocols are followed is to try to prevent the members of the CFG getting too personal with the feedback. We don't want to put educators on the defense about their teaching strategies or something they're doing in their classroom. We want them to feel supported and open and willing to take critiques to overall improve the quality of their classroom and the quality of the district and school. The other way it is different is because it is led by a trained facilitator. Again, the purpose of the trained facilitator is to ensure that all members are feeling the safety and positivity of the culture created in the CFG, and to be able to share their thoughts and to accept others' feedbacks, even if it may be critical, without taking it personally. Also, the trained facilitator can help make sure everybody has a voice that's being heard. These CFGs need to be really critically stacked with strategic people in this community to ensure that everybody's voices are being heard. For example, you will want a representative from different grade levels, you'll want representatives from different content areas, so all the different perspectives are being considered in this critical friend group. Okay, so our problem with our current organization, or our organizational goal, is to improve our IAR writing scores. IAR stands for Illinois Readiness Assessment, and our Illinois Readiness Assessment scores were extremely low in the past couple of years. So writing has become a key goal or objective in my current school district. They're pushing for more cross-curricular writing. They want to increase the rigor of the writing standards that we have in our English classes, and they want students to be establishing the standard format of a 5-paragraph essay earlier on. At 6th grade, right now, students are only getting up to 1 paragraph with a claim and a clencher, and then 3 citations or support evidence statements in the middle of the paragraph. And instead of only getting to 1 paragraph at a time, the hope is that we can transition and start getting them understanding that 5-paragraph format by the 5th grade. And so then in middle school, they can write bigger papers and build on that foundation. Okay, so creating a CFG. When we're going to create a CFG for our particular writing organizational goal, we're going to select one language arts teacher from each grade level. So 6th grade has one language arts teacher, 7th grade has one language arts teacher, 8th grade has one language arts teacher, 5th grade has one, 4th grade has one, and so on and so forth, however low down we would want to go. Also to select one other content area teacher from each grade level in either science or social studies. Math cross-curricular writing is limited in our choices in which we can implement cross-curricular writing, so it would be more beneficial to try to focus more heavily on science and social studies because they have more opportunities in which they can implement cross-curricular writing. So we want to make sure we have all the different perspectives and voices being heard in our critical friend group. So we want to make sure we have at least one teacher per grade level and from English and from either science or social studies. We need to carve out time during contractual hours to meet either on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. One of the big threats that can be an issue in critical friend groups is the time commitment. A lot of teachers don't want to commit to having to meet after school hours or before school hours on their own personal time. So it would be essential that the district find time in the contractual hours to meet so that teachers are more willing to make the commitment to being on the critical friend group. We also want to make sure we establish and build trust and a positive, supportive culture in our critical friend group. The first couple meetings should be mostly about establishing this safety net and building the relationships between the group members, getting to know each other so that we feel the freedom and luxury to be able to share our ideas openly and without ridicule. And then we will share ideas about how to best teach and implement writing, or how to cross-curricular writing ideas, and then also to conduct observations of different teachers teaching in the classroom, and then critiquing those observations to see where we could benefit in certain areas. Okay, strengths of a critical friend group. That it has a trained facilitator that is there to ensure all voices are heard. That's a major strength. Every different perspective is going to be heard and have an input towards how to fix or to meet the organizational goal. Make teachers feel more prepared to continue to engage in their profession. It is going to be great for motivation and empowering teachers to feel better about their jobs and how well they are able to implement their different suggestions into the classroom. Also, it's going to focus on teaching and learning in specific academic content areas. For the purposes of our CFG, we are going to focus on writing, and we will focus on writing in English class, science class, and social studies class. Finally, it is going to create a sense of culture from the school, the program, or even the community as a whole, depending on who is all in the critical friend group. So those are some strengths that we have established from a critical friend group. Weaknesses. Accepting feedback, both positive and negative, without getting defensive can be a major issue. As educators, it can be hard to have somebody critique you and to point out downfalls you may have. So it's essential to establish and build that sense of trust so that you're more willing and more open to accepting that feedback. Funding can be an issue for presentations and resources. Funding would need to be budgeted to allow for some of these opportunities to be trumped on for implementing different ideas into the classroom and for seeking out new curriculum ideas. Does not include all educators, only a small number, 8 to 12 educators, to represent their grade level or subject area. So not every teacher is going to be welcome to be a part of this critical friend group because it is going to be a smaller group that meets, which can be a downfall. And finally, the time commitment. Definitely can make teachers withdraw their participation if you're not in contractual hours, which is why one of the main things when setting up a critical friend group is to ensure the time that teachers can participate in them is in their already contracted hours. Threats are next. There's many threats that can potentially impact a critical friend group. The focus, the size, and stability of the group, those are all threats to the group. If they're not focused on a specific goal or objective, if the size is too big or too small, the critical friend group may be ineffective. And if it's not a stable group, you don't want to have different educators coming in and out of the critical friend group. You want the same educators there every single time to, again, build up that trust among the teachers. Availability of time to meet, it can always be a difficult thing to get schedules aligned with everybody that doesn't conflict with any other existing committees or teams. And then to get support from group members and educational leaders. If there's a lack of support from the educational leaders and group members, then this can be a huge threat to the critical friend group and the overall success of it. Opportunities. Huge opportunity to work collaboratively with new teachers that you may not always work collaboratively with. As a middle school teacher, I work collaboratively with my immediate team very often, but very rarely do I actually get out of my own team or my department and get to mingle and communicate with other teachers. So huge opportunity here to work with other co-workers besides just the people on your team or in your department. Also, huge opportunity to identify classroom-based dilemmas, take those issues in the classroom and present them in the critical friend group and try to brainstorm strategies to fix these dilemmas. And then finally, the huge opportunity to build strong relationships among the teachers. Again, it would be a critical component for this critical friend group to make sure that the teachers feel a sense of trust and support from each other, that they can share their ideas and thoughts. And here are some references used throughout the presentation. So thanks for watching.